Hey everyone, it's Brett from Hope to Prosper. I'm doing the intro in the car because there's like a million people standing around every lighthouse, so I didn't want to do the intro in front of everybody. Anyways, had an awesome time. Saw probably 5 or 6 lighthouses today, which I'll show you. I really enjoyed this part of the trip. I spent 2 days in Petoskey, Michigan, and one day I kind of drove over to it from Wisconsin, and then this day I just dedicated to lighthouses. So like I said, I've driven up and down the coast, seen a million lighthouses, and just had a great time. So anyways, thanks for coming along. I know you're going to enjoy this. The footage is really breathtaking. These lighthouses are so beautiful. If you ever get a chance to come to northern Michigan and go to the lighthouses, and I know there are other lighthouses in Indiana and other states, Maine. I've been to a lot of them, but there's more lighthouses in Michigan than in any other state. So anyways, thanks for coming along. Hope you enjoy it.
I started this leg of the trip driving all the way from Green Bay, Wisconsin to Petoskey, Michigan through the Upper Peninsula. And it was really pretty. A lot of it was just driving through the woods, but every once in a while I'd get a view of the top of Lake Michigan, and it was gorgeous. Here's an overlook that I stopped at. And I stopped at a couple overlooks and took a couple bathroom breaks, but to be honest, it was a long drive and I just kind of busted through it. Here's the Mackinac Bridge, and this is it's like 5 miles long. It goes from the Upper Peninsula to the Lower Peninsula, and it's the longest suspension bridge in the Western Hemisphere. So it was pretty cool to drive over. I really enjoyed it. Sorry about the windshield, having a bunch of bugs on it, but I was probably about 2,000 miles into the trip by this point, and had driven most of the way around the Great Lakes. So anyways, I drove over the bridge and to my destination, Petoskey, Michigan, which was probably another 20 miles past Mackinac City. And if you look from the top of the bridge, right here, you could see Mackinac City in the background. I'm not sure if that's Mackinac or Mackinac, but it's right there on the top of the peninsula. That's what they call the Mitt in Michigan. It's the Lower Peninsula, and so that's where my destination was. Here is the Terrace Inn. I stayed here for 2 days. Loved it. It's one of the oldest Victorian hotels left. That drink is called a $1 Million Sunset, and that is some whitefish on a cedar plank. So the food was great. The destination is great. Here's the little downtown Petoskey. Here's the Bayfront Park, and then here's the Petoskey Pierhead Lighthouse. It's not like a really great lighthouse, but man, the surrounding city is so beautiful. It just made for an awesome little jaunt out onto the breakwater to see the lighthouse. And like I said, it's not that impressive, but boy, the city of Petoskey is beautiful. I really enjoyed it. Here's some of the downtown of Petoskey. I kind of wandered around and just looked at it. There's so much beautiful architecture and history here. Great place to stay. I'm really glad that I picked Petoskey to stay for a couple days. Here is the South Pier Lighthouse in Charlevoix, Michigan. And if I hadn't have stayed in Petoskey, I would have wanted to stay in Charlevoix. That's a really beautiful place. The lighthouse was very impressive. It's one of the red square lighthouses, and it was much prettier than the Petoskey Lighthouse. And the city of Charlevoix was also really cool. I wandered around a little bit downtown there. I didn't have a lot of time to stay in all these cities because I was really hustling around the Mitt to get to all the lighthouses, and some of them were pretty far away. But anyways, this is Charlevoix's lighthouse. Like I said, I really loved it. One thing that sucked was there was a barricade, and that's all the closer I could get to the lighthouse. I don't know why they had it barricaded off. Looked like they were working on it. There's some plastic around it. You can see the barricade there. Next, I went to Traverse City, and I just walked around, had lunch, just enjoyed it. And then I went to Point Betsie Lighthouse. This is another beautiful lighthouse. This is one that has like a keeper's house and all that. And Point Betsie's really pretty. I spent a lot of time at this lighthouse filming. Just because I just loved the location. And it had a beautiful beach. It had a nice keeper. It had a whole property full of stuff. keeper house, barns, all kinds of stuff. And so it was basically a whole park, and I loved it. Point Betsie, definitely got to put that on your list if you're going to see all the lighthouses. Here's me filming. The guy in the background, he actually came up to me when he saw I was filming, and he said that he had created the Point Betsie website. I'll put it in the thing below. But that gentleman right there said he created the Point Betsie Lighthouse, and he wanted me to upload my my videos to it, because he said people took a lot of pictures, but people didn't take a lot of videos of the website. So anyways, it was interesting to run into him, learn a little bit about the history of the place, and like I said, Point Betsie, you definitely have to put that on your list. That's one of the beautiful lighthouses, and just a neat little area. It's just a township. It's outside of the big city, so it was a really neat place. When I drove through the little township, it looked like a neat place to live. Anyways, Point Betsie Lighthouse. Scratch that one off, and then head to our next destination, which was Frankfort, Michigan. So Frankfort, Michigan. This is a beautiful place. Neat little city. I came here. I had a little bit to eat and walked around the downtown. Spent a little time there before I went off to the lighthouse, just to get a feel for the city. It's not just the lighthouses; it's the little communities around them that are fun to visit in Michigan. It's kind of the whole thing, and I'm glad I stayed at Frankfort. I stopped at Frankfort. It was definitely worth a stop, but boy, it was crowded. They had some kind of race going on. There's almost no parking, and it was a zoo for a Saturday, but still worth visiting. Okay, here is the Frankfort Lighthouse, and this is the North Breakwater Light. They were doing it needed to be painted really bad, and so they were doing a fundraiser to fix up the lighthouse. And once again, like I said, the Frankfort area, I mean, look at the little beach. I had to walk a long ways out there to the lighthouse, but look at the little community. It was beautiful, and the weather couldn't have been more perfect. And in addition to the North Breakwater Lighthouse, there was also the South Range Lighthouse. And so the little lighthouse and then the big lighthouse were on both ends of the harbor. Beautiful place. I'm glad I stopped in Frankfort. I got a selfie. Somebody else took a picture for me, but I couldn't get an intro here. Last on the list was the Old Mission Point Lighthouse. I had to drive. It's close to Traverse City, but it's way out on this Old Mission Peninsula, and it's about a 12-mile drive from Traverse City. Still worth it. Once again, this is like Point Betsie, where they had a whole park, and then a lot of outbuildings and other stuff around the lighthouse. And there's the Mission Point Lighthouse, and it is really neat. It was closed, so the grounds were closed, and the museum was closed, so you couldn't go up in it. I was kind of late. It was a long day. It was the last lighthouse of the night, and I visited that, and I loved it. So I just wandered around the exterior of the fence and got some footage. Like I said, if that was open, we could have sat in those chairs and went in the lighthouse, but I didn't really go in any of the lighthouses. I just didn't have the time. I kind of was hustling from place to place. Here's the beach. There's a lot of people on the beach. It was really beautiful. It looked like a great place to hang out. I don't know if I'd go in the water with all them rocks, but the beach itself looked really inviting. And so I just I wanted to get a video of the lighthouse from the beach, which was pretty cool. It's just right there, and you can just walk right up to it. So that's the Point Betsie Lighthouse. And then finally, on my way out of town, I stopped at the Fort Gratiot Light Station, and this is in Port Huron, Michigan. And so this was almost, I was just getting ready to cross over into Canada, and I knew there was a neat lighthouse here in Port Huron, so I looked it up, and I went to it. I'm really glad I did. Once again, there's a really beautiful park here. There's the lighthouse itself, the Fort Gratiot Light Station, and there's people up there, you could see. So the museum was still open. People were in the lighthouse, and that was the end of my trip. So anyways, thank you for coming along. Thank you for I hope you enjoyed the the Lighthouses of Michigan. Man, I had a really great time, and I really enjoyed myself, and I hoped you enjoyed as well. Okay, I wish you all health, happiness, and prosperity in your lives, and I will see you next time on our next big adventure.